Hello students, here's some instructions for homework. It will be due tomorrow before class, Monday the 13th of February. It's fairly light duty. It shouldn't take anywhere more than an hour for you to do. I've kind of guided it around that. But we need to do some daily practice with typing. We still have to introduce that. So today, for your homework, if you have about an hour, a little bit of concentration time, we have to think about that. You want posture, you want quiet, you want focus on this, and focus comes to different people in different ways. So some people need absolute silence. They need to be somewhere by themselves, or they might have racket going around, and that's just fine. And you can concentrate fine as long as you get your words per minute up. That's what we're after. That's one of the main things for this course. Okay. So I have an instruction file here. I'm going to throw in here OFT109. Just make sure we know what class we're talking about. Okay. All right. So here's some instructions. Okay. So you can stop this video at any time and kind of read them. I'm going to go through everything here. It's going to be pretty highly detailed to make sure you have everything you need to be able to get this assignment done. And as I said, probably take you about an hour. That's what I was designing this to be. So if you, especially on Wednesday, this past Wednesday when we met, which was the 8th of February, we went through this whole drill. We're just reproducing what we did in the class. And some of what we did in class we had done one or two times before. Okay. So the first thing is make sure you have downloaded your Microsoft Word to your local computer. Okay. So I'm going to run off and I'm going to show you where we're going to get that done. I'm going to come over here. And great, I'm still logged in. It knocks me out so quickly. And to get the downloaded version, you're going to go to the cloud-based version, is Office 365 here. I'm sure you're all logged in there. Okay, so when you log in here, if you click on Word over on the left here, click on Word, okay. Once you come over to Office 365, click on that. We'll go into Office 365, we log in. And when we get here, you will notice that up in the upper right-hand corner, there's an Install Apps button. We click that. You'll click Microsoft 365 Apps, so click on that, and it will download the setup. Okay, so once it finishes downloading, when you click on that, it wants to start the process of installing. Now, I'm not going to do it because I already have my tools loaded. I don't want to get overwritten by this process, but what you need to do is when you're asked, do you want to allow this app to make changes? Yes. It would be different on the Mac, okay? And try to make your way through there if you haven't downloaded Microsoft Word to your computer already, okay? So I'm going to exit out of all of this. I just wanted to show you where to get that Microsoft Word. Close that window. Come back to my Microsoft Word again. Okay. So make sure you have downloaded the Microsoft Word to your local computer. Okay, so that I covered here. You can read the rest of this. It's basically just a little bit of information. Let's cross that one in. Okay, so in this video, I will recreate the Microsoft Word file we worked on a couple of times in class already. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come into Microsoft Word and create a new file. You can either click File, New, and then it gives you a chance to pick some of these fancy options down here, but we're just going to click on the blank document. Okay, so we click on blank document. All right, so really quickly here, it should be able to come back to memory because we did it a couple times in class, but I wanted to capture it in a video here. Okay, so one of the first things that I mentioned, it wasn't the first thing I mentioned because I wanted to get some things into the file before we did this, but one of the more helpful things to do is on the home page, on the home menu item, okay, I turn on the non-printing characters. Okay, so as professionals now, you should be able to get used to seeing these on the screen, and you can turn their visibility on and off. You just have to click this on and off. That's off and on. Okay, and that helps you. It puts a little bit more information in here to understand what's going on. Sometimes there's some strange behavior, and by seeing what the characters are, you're like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. There's some kind of new section formatting or something that can happen. All right, different kinds of things. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is work on the header and footer. Okay, so this is your homework file to submit onto Brightspace. So you'll double click up here in the header area, And you could just put in there OFT109 homework for Monday, 13th of Feb. It's fine enough. Okay. And then if you hit enter and put your name in there, don't put my name in there, put your name in there. Put it like this. This is supposed to be your name. Okay. Then what did we do? Well, we'd like to create a little visual separation from the header and the footer from the content or the body of the file. So what we do is we go into the insert menu item and we select shapes and we pick the second one, which is just a line. Okay, now our crosshairs show up and I'm just going to draw it roughly underneath the text but above the dotted line here. Now if you remember, see how it can move all over the place. You might have a tough time making it a straight line across. So as a help, don't let go of any of your buttons here, but add the shift. If I push down on the shift key, now it locks the rotation to only 45 degrees, different, multiples of 45 degrees around the starting point. And that allows me to, now you can see my cursor, I can actually come off the end of the line. I can see where I'm dropping it. Okay, so I'm going to drop it in here. Maybe I'll make it, something like this long right now. Okay, all right. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to try to center it. Okay, so if I grab this, well, we're selected because you have the handles are active at the end of the line, and it takes a little bit. Okay, so I grab the hold of the line. If you can see where my cursor is, and if I'm very carefully, I can get the thing centered. Now, I'm not sure if this works on the Mac. It hadn't a couple years ago. All right, as of about a year ago, it did not work. And right now, when I center it on my computer, on my PC, it actually shows that alignment line in the middle, that alignment line. Okay, so I drop it there. That's where I want it. It's still selected. I hit Control C, which is Control Copy up to the clipboard, and that would be Command C on the Mac. And then I hit Command V or Control V. All right, and I make myself a copy, a duplicate of it, because I kind of want everything to be uniform here. And I very carefully try to grab this. It can be a little difficult grabbing. Okay, so I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move it down. And I can't get to the bottom of the page unless I bump. You have to kind of like bump down at the bottom of the page. So I'm kind of bumping it. It moves the image there. So I'm going to put that just below the dotted line. Try to get it centered. There's my center. And I let go, and I have my line. Okay, and we talked about this in class. There's the anchor for the line. We're not going to use it right now. We don't need to. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to click here, and there's a paragraph symbol there. So we have ability to type some text, and I'm going to hit Tab. And it goes to the middle. One more tab, and it goes to the right. And it's just by default that Microsoft Word will start typing from the right margin over here. Okay, so this thing is aligned on the right margin. Okay, and we know where our margins are, or if we need to find out, we can click on very briefly, I'm going to go over, click on the layout menu item, and the very first thing is margins. This is going to tell us what my margins are, if I just kind of want to know. And it shows, you can see the selected one is 1 inch all around, 1 inch top, bottom, left, and right. Okay, so if you kind of get confused or you want to maybe change them, start by knowing what you have. But usually my documents just use this default 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home. I've been living on the home here quite a bit. We used insert a little bit. We've taken a look at layout. Okay, so we've used a couple of the, or 3 of the menu items here. Okay, so I have my line there, and I have my cursor. By tabbing twice, I get over to the right margin there. And we're going to do insert again. We're going to come up here, we're going to click insert and put in a page number. Okay, so insert. And I'm going to come over on the ribbon and grab page number, and I want to drop it where the current position is, meaning where's my cursor, okay? And when I click this, I can click it. Now I'm going to come over and saying, what format do you want your page numbers in? And it gives us a lot of different formats here. They're all pretty nice. I'm going to have it, and this is what I'm asking you to do for the course, is using page X of Y, or page 1 of 1 here. So I click that format, and now it's automatically tracking my pages down there using this very clear, explicit, you want on page 1 of whatever, page 1 of 1 so far. Okay. So here's you, okay? Like I'm gonna now be you. You want to save this at this point. Start saving it along the line here, okay? So we've taken care of our headers and footers. Double click back into the body area, okay? And I hit Control Save. And the first time it says save, now I want you to put it in a good place where you organize for your classes. But for here, I'm just going to use my documents. By default, any new document being saved, any new Microsoft Word document will be saved in my documents folder. Okay, and that's fine for here. But I want you to create an OFT109 folder for all your homeworks and anything else that comes out of this if you haven't already. Okay, so I'm going to name it, this is you. You're going to name it with your 2-digit ID number. Don't worry too much about it. If you don't know your 2-digit ID number, I think I put them up in class. But if you use your 2-digit ID number, just put anything if you don't know what it is. Mine, I'm going to just say mine is 99. Put your name in there, not my name. This is your name you put in there. And just put in there homework for Monday 13th of Feb. And put in 2023 and put, whoops, okay? And so that's good. That's a good name for it. It's going to go into my documents. Make sure you're organizing. Put this where you can find it again. Okay, so we're saving. This is going to be a file that you're going to upload to Brightspace. Okay, so I hit click Save. Saves it away. So now it's a real thing. The name should pop up here in the top. There it is. Okay, so now I know that it was saved up there. Okay, so what did we do on Wednesday? We know what we need to do is put a whole bunch of images into this file. Okay. So we're going to do a couple of tests as a baseline of your words per minute. Then we're going to run one of the games a few times. And then at the end, you're going to do that same assessment, the same, in air quotes, test to see how your performance is. Okay. So what did we do? We very, very simply put in a couple of descriptors in text before we went and put the image in here. So you could type in here, try one. Okay, so let's go back to my instructions and let's see what we're supposed to do here. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my instructions. Those are over here. Okay, so I recreated the Microsoft Word file. Okay, so I'm going to mark that as being essentially done. Okay, put a little gray mark on there. Okay, so after creating a Word file, you're going to go to freetypinggame.net and do a few, I should say, a few typing exercises and assessments as homework. Okay, so I'm going to use the words here. I'll tell you what it is first, and then we're going to go do this. I'll show you what it is. So do the number 10 test 2 times. Okay, and then to put into your homework file, take screenshots and insert in the Microsoft Word file. Formatting for, I'm just going to call it aesthetic presentation. Just a little bit of, it's the same thing we did in class. It's just to center them up and make them look nice. Okay. So you're going to do the test twice. Try to see what you can get for a score there. That's just the baseline. You want to see how your typing is. As you warm up, you're going to do better and better here. So now I want you to run the sailboats at basic 2 times. And I want you to run the sailboats at intermediate 3 times. Okay. And when you're all done with that, go back and do the number test one more time as your final performance. So if we count these up, we need screenshots for all of these, okay? Just to be clear, that after each one of these, throw your screenshots into the file. There we go, okay? What we'll do is this. Highlight that out. Do your screenshots here, do your screenshots here, do your screenshots here. How many do we have total here? Let's add them up. So we have these 2, then we have another 2, that's 4, then we have another 3, that's 7, and then one more will be 8, okay? All right, and we'll use snipping tool for that. And I kind of mentioned take screenshots. It's just a repetition. I can probably just take that out. Take a screenshot of, yeah, let's take that out. All right, so submit your file in assignments in the assignment under week 4, Monday, 6th of February on Brightspace in our course. Okay, and have a great rest of the weekend. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that you can find these things. I want to show you what we're talking about. All right, so I'm going to come back over to here, and I'm going to go to freetypinggame.net up here. Okay, so freetypinggame.net. All right, so the first thing is we're going to go to tests, the test tab, and we're going to come over here to free typing tests. And instead of lesson 26, you're going to click on this and come down to lesson 10. This kind of matches the game where we are. We're no shift, letters only. Okay. All right. And just leave it at 1 minute typing test. So let's see how I do here. So I'm going to do, this is an example of how to do it. Okay. So when I come in here, just reaffirming, it says lesson number 10, letters only, no shift. It gives me 1 minute to try it. Font is medium font. You can feel free to change the font on there. I don't know why you would. And I need you to take the allow backspacing off. Okay, so this is just go through. Don't try to recover, go back, or anything else. Okay, so I'll go through this. This won't take too long for me. You'll see at least how it works. And if it makes a mistake, you'll see it like I just made a mistake under there. It'll show it to me, but I'm not looking there. I'm not even looking at the keyboard. You're timed on this. Look at me making mistakes there. Oh, mistake. Probably coming up on a minute pretty soon. Another mistake. Okay, so my typing speed was 49 if I wasn't making mistakes, but I had 7 errors, so I got up to 42 that time. Now that's not really that good as far as typing goes. You can't have mistakes. You really need 0 up there for mistakes. Don't worry about what your score is right here. Okay, so before this leaves the screen, you're going to come down and, well, you're going to come over. I don't think I have snipping tools on this computer set up, so I'm going to type in snipping tool. I'm going to come up here, right click it, and pin to the taskbar. So now I have it pinned. It should be over here. So you can look down on my taskbar. I click it. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to ignore this first window. It's very distracting. Very distracting. Just click new. You're always putting up this thing. Do you want to try the other version of it? So just ignore that. Okay, and it turns your screen milky like that. And just take a screenshot. You have a cursor here. Hold down your right mouse button and take a screenshot like we did in class. Okay. Don't worry about that. You won't get that. That's from something else I have going on here. Okay. So I'll hit Control C, takes whatever's on this screen where I'm still in snipping tool. It'll put it up on the clipboard. All right. So I am going to go over to my homework and I'm going to say try 1. Now, what you might do is here is put test 10, try 1 to help yourself remember what it is. Hit enter. Now hit Control V. Okay. Now the image came in here. All right. Now in class, if you remember what I did is if you select the image, I just clicked it. I can change the size, but I can't get it unpinned from the left margin. Okay. How did we do that? Well, we had to put it into a different mode. Okay, so there's different modes when you drop an image like this into a Word file. So we come up here, we click on our layout options, and what you're going to click is this one here. It's top and bottom. So it shows kind of a picture, the curvy here is your picture, and it shows the blue is where the text will go. The text will go above it, and the text will go below it. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Now I've changed the mode, and something already kind of changed that we see. We see this little anchor symbol here. It moved when I did that. It's already behaving differently. But now I can just grab it and I can center it. So I'm going to put it in the center. I'm going to put it in the center. You can see the green line. Okay, if you're using a Mac and it doesn't give you the center line, just get it pretty close. All right, and now if I grab the handle down here and try to resize it, it's going to resize from the upper left corner. From up, see, it's going to, the upper left corner is pinned down on my page, and that's where it's sizing from. All right, so I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay, Control Z. Get it back in the middle like this. Now, how do you do it from the center is you hold down your Control key while you're holding down your left mouse button, and it will resize from the center. Okay, so that's a little keyboard shortcut there. Control left key. All right, so we needed, something about there. I can read it. I can kind of read it here. Okay, great. Now, what was that other thing we did? Well, things are going to be misbehaving unless we actually lock the anchor. So that anchor has to do with this picture that we have in here. If I move it around, that little anchor is jumping from different line to different line. Okay. So what we do is we grab the anchor, we get it to the line that we want to anchor to. So this is the name of what we're trying to show. This is the thing we're showing. Okay. So then I right click on the picture and I come down to size and position. Okay. So what we're going to say is we want to lock this to that text. It's somewhat telling it the position of where we want this thing. So I click size and position and it throws this up. And there's 3 tabs on here, and mine is opening up on one that I don't need. I want to click on position, and I'm going to ignore these other 2 tabs for now. I hardly ever use those other 2, but sometimes you need them. Depends on what you're doing. So under position, we can come down here and we're going to lock anchor. Okay. Now make sure your anchor is in the right place. If it goes in the wrong place, if you accidentally went to another line, just do it again. Come in here, come back to size and position, undo it. Oop, where is it? Unclick, be careful. Unclick the wrong one. Where is it? I have to go over to position. Okay, so I go to position tab, and I would need to unlock the anchor and then move it to where I want it. So sometimes you make a mistake. Even when you go to move a little bit on your screen, once in a while something will happen and that anchor will shift or go somewhere else. So in case it gets locked to the wrong one, you just uncheck it, move the anchor, go back in again, click my favorite tab, click lock anchor, and now it's corrected. So that's a little bit of a pitfall that you can get into. Great. Okay, so we have our first picture in there. I might hit Control Save because I get nervous. All right. So let's tee up the next one using a little golf metaphor there. Okay. So let's get the next heading. We're going to need to run this. We might even say try 1 of 2, right? I said let's do this twice. So this would be try 1 of 2. Okay. And if I click on the next line here and I hit enter, remember we told it to keep this picture so that the text would run across the top and then the bottom. So what I just did was the cursor was on the last line in here, and if I go to type, it might stay up there. So we don't want that to stay up there. We want it to drop down below because we're going to type something else in here. Because what we're going to type in here really is this. Now you can grab this text. Okay, it's going to be almost the same thing as this header, this little heading that we have here. So I select the text, Control C takes that text up, and I put another line in. Now it's repeated. You have to remember to come back here and say try 2 of 2. Okay. All right, but as I'm saying, like this isn't going to be in the right place. And here's the trick: grab your picture and nudge it up a little bit. If you just nudge it up a little bit, it forces the text to drop down to this line. Okay. All right. So let's go do our second try. I'm not going to go through doing the second try. I'm going to pretend that I did again. I'm going to pretend that I did it. I don't want to waste your time here. So I am going to go through and do the snipping tool. So I'll come down to my taskbar. I'll run the snipping tool here. I want a new. I click new up here, and I grab. I'll make it look a little different. I'll do it badly here. I'm going to make a bad screenshot so they look different in my file. Okay, just so it looks different. Okay, so this is my second screenshot from my second test. Control C puts it on the clipboard. I come over, and after this line, okay, after this line, maybe I put an enter in there, and I'm going to Control V takes whatever's on the clipboard and puts it where the cursor was, okay? So what happened is we ran out of space up here. But if we remember, we're going to shrink this down anyway. So I'm going to click on it. While I'm here, I'll change the mode to top and bottom, and it kind of starts flipping around on the screen here. So you have to kind of start tolerating that a little bit. Okay, so what I did is I changed its mode. What did that do for us? Two things. One, I can now move it around. And if you look at the green line, I've got it centered. Okay. And the other thing is it won't allow any text to the left or right. We selected top and bottom mode. Top and bottom means text at the top, text at the bottom, but nothing between. Okay. And now we need to resize. Okay. So we hold down the control button, grab our lower right corner, and shrink it down. So I did want to make it look different. And so it does look different now, right? Those two look different. Okay. All right. So when we dropped it around and it got moved around, we didn't have the anchor locked down anywhere. So it found its way back to the top here. So it thinks it wants to be anchored to the first line, and no, we don't want that, right? We want that anchor. We're going to drag it down to the line where we want it. Go back to our image, right click on the image and go through the lockdown. Go to the position tab. We're going to do a lockdown. Okay. So now it's locked down. You just need to grab it and start dragging it down a little bit, and boop, your line's going to drop above it. It's like auto formatting here before your eyes. Okay, so I think anybody could tell we're going to run out of room here. Okay, so when you put your screenshots in, they can be generally this big. It should just be basically legible in here. Kind of shows your different scores and whatnot. But what did we do in class? When we got to this point, we can let Word somewhat auto format our document, but it's not going to do it well. And what I like to do is get control out of a new page. I want to force it to go to a new page. Okay, so how do we do that? I put my cursor, or I get my cursor on that last line there, and I hold down Control and hit Enter. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I have non-printing characters visible, because there's our page break. When we did a Control Enter, we got a page break there. Okay, so I know I'm not going to get a third image onto this front page here. So what I'm going to do is it forced it down. The cursor's now down here. Okay, but now if we go back to my instructions, okay, we did, let's say we've done these two here. Okay, so we're working down my instructions here. And then we're going to go, well, after we did the number 10 test 2 times, we're going to go to sailboats, run it at basic. Okay, so let me go over to sailboats here. And now we're going to, instead of go to test, we're going to go to games. Okay, we're going to go to games. And this game is almost the same as the frog game. Okay, so if you come down, you'll find one to do save the sailboat race. So this is where I want you to go in. We can leave number 1 home row only like that, but I want you to drop it back to beginner. I guess the word is beginner. I'll fix that in here. Okay, it's beginner. Okay, and then you'll play that. It's just like that other game that we play. Okay, so you have to type these before they sink the sailboats, etc., etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of the video. I'm just going to get to the end here. Okay, so now I finished that game not very well. I was just trying to wait for it to finish. Okay, so we're going to do a screen grab here. So we need to come down and get our snipping tool. This is the first run. Remember where we are right now? This is my first run of the sailboat game at beginner level. You're gonna run that twice. Do this, so you're gonna do this twice. So I'm gonna do a new screen grab here. It should turn the screen a little milky. Make sure you get your score into the picture here. Control C puts it on the clipboard. And we go back over to our homework file that we're going to deposit this in. And what did we say before? We said this is going to be sailboat beginner. Try 1 of 2. Hit enter, control V. Now it's just a repeat mode. Rinse and repeat. So I grab the image, and the first thing I want to do is turn it into top and bottom mode. I do that. I can grab it and center it. Okay, it's centered. I hold down the control key. I grab the lower right hand corner and squish it. Maybe pop it up a little bit. Okay, now where I have it right now, it just so happens that the anchor is at the place I want it to be. So I right click it, come in here and lock it down. There we go. If the anchor ends up somewhere else, just grab it and drag it up there. And remember, we still have all the printable, the non-printed characters are viewable. Okay, so I still have this little gizmo selected. Okay, so now you're going to do, see what you can do is you can grab this, right? Control C, and we're going to be lazy. I'm going to grab that, Control V, lazy in a good way. So sailboat beginner, try 2 of 2. Try 2 of 2, okay? Now what I asked you to do is go to intermediate and run it 3 times. So here's how we can be lazy. I still have that text up on the clipboard. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm setting this up so for the next 3 that you're going to do will be intermediate. Okay, that'll be try 1 of 3 to get what we're writing here accurate. This will be try 2 of 3. And this will be try 3 of 3. Imagine, okay, 3 of 3. And then the last thing you're going to do is I'll go up here, cheat. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to grab the text that I already have. And we're going to take this text here, Control C. And I'm going to, well, you know what? I'm going to change the name of that so you don't get the wrong idea here. So I'm going to go end test 10. Yes, end test 10. And that will be, so now you're going to put a screenshot after sailboat beginner, sailboat intermediate, sailboat intermediate, sailboat intermediate. So there's 4 there plus your 5th. And I think we had a total of 8 images in here, okay? So when you start filling up page 2, Control Enter gives you another page. And I think that's sufficient for you to get through this. Don't worry too much if you're having some trouble with this. Just make sure you get, of the file here, make sure you do all the typing and get the images in here, okay? But work hard, try to use the technique that I'm showing you here. And I guess maybe a couple of things at the end I would mention is you could turn this non-printable characters on and off. Okay, so I'll turn them off a little bit. And there's a little bit of a hack. This is what I call a hack. It's not really a hack, but what you can do to see how your file is looking, you can hit File, Print, and it will show you a preview here. Okay, so now we can kind of look around in our document. This is a little bit of a cheat to see how it would actually print. Okay, so I'm going to post this file up on, it's going to be in week 4. Look for week 4 because that's when I technically issued the homework. It catches us up to date for homework from week 4. I'm going to put that on Brightspace. Okay, any questions, email me. And all the best. I hope you do a good job with this, but we should be typing a little bit, doing our drills every day. It's something where you don't want to get away from it too much. We'll start to get up to our 60 words per minute target. All right, with no errors. That's the big thing. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and let me know if you have any questions by email. Bye now.